Something a bit different today. I'm getting canvas ready for a bit of an unexpected painting. I use doing paintings as a coping mechanism sometimes, a way of getting my thoughts down, a way of just seeing how I feel about things. That's what I'm going to do today. I was supposed to have an eye appointment in an hour from now to give me the go-ahead to drive, make sure my eyes are okay, the eye that I had operated on, make sure that's okay, booking for my next operation on the other eye, get the go-ahead for a lot of things really, check everything's okay. And about 2 hours ago I got a phone call and it's been cancelled. So this painting is, I'm just getting a canvas ready. This painting's going to be a little bit of coping mechanism for that. It'll make sense. The actual image came into my head pretty much as soon as I put the phone down. And I thought, yeah, I've got to do that one. So it'll make sense when you see the image. And it makes me feel better when I'm keeping my hands busy. I use the 90 degrees of the corner of my drawing table to make sure the corners of my canvases are 90 degrees. Works really well. Making start on this painting. This is the painting that I wanted to do to just respond to how I was feeling this afternoon. I've made the canvas, gessoed it, and the gesso has dried enough for me to just put in where I want things to go. I want to get everything the right sort of size and angles before I... That's better, that's further down. I didn't want the... So it's a head with an arm reaching up, and it's reaching up to the elusive eyeball that I can never get to. All I want is another eye, and I'm not going to get it just yet, and I have to wait. I don't know if it's going to work as a painting or not, but this is how I feel, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to work, all I'm working in is raw umber and ultramarine. Those are the two colours that I mix together to get my darkest colours in my paintings. So that's what I'm going to layer on now. Just getting in the darker colours, and then tomorrow when it's all set and finished I'll come back to it and start working. Do you know, I'm going to get a bigger brush. This isn't covering it for me. Bigger brush now. No point in messing around. With the brush strokes, I want to move in some sort of harnessing this eyeball with the background strokes. So this is coming down and then into the body. And then coming down here. It won't be really obvious in the final painting, but it's that whole movement going down, joining the reaching up figure, namely me, with the... I mean, it'll be like an idea of me. It won't be me, but it will be, that's who I'm representing by this figure down here, reaching up to the elusive eyeball that's never going to come. It will, but this is my way of getting out the frustration of it not happening. I've added a bit of white, titanium white to the palette. I'm just working back into it with that. Really don't want to get bogged down with details of the face or anything like that. I'm just getting the start of the face in. So I can work out where everything goes. I've got the arm coming down, fingers, thumb, top muscle. That's going to be about right. I'm just going to glaze over the top once it's all dry. And then I've got the right surface then to work on tomorrow. Starting to do some stamping on the painting. Just load up the stamp with the paint and then put it where I want it to go. At this point, what I'm doing is I'm pushing the canvas from the back to pick up the print of the buttons on the front. Oh, to have crystal clear vision again. Hence the diamonds. I've done these to visually stop things as you go down. So there's like a barrier in the background. And then there's the hand coming through that takes you back up again. This particular stamp is Little Owls. And I like the idea of the wise little owls all watching. Lots of wise little owls. I wish I was a wise little owl. I'd know what was going on then. A glaze of cobalt blue and the gloss medium. I'm just going to add this over the top. Put a few more layers on now. I've still got to work back onto it with more of the stamps, but I need to leave that dry completely before I start working back into it. I've put some more colours in the background. I've worked a bit more on the body at the bottom, reaching up. I've got colours, cadmium yellow, titanium white, raw umber, crimson, ultramarine, cobalt blue and burnt sienna. That's pretty much going to be the palette for the whole thing. I've got a lot of the body in now. I'm doing the eye as a blue button, just to signify. Why am I doing the eye as a blue button? I'm doing the eye as a blue button because a blue button would probably be just as good at the moment. I'm going to work back onto the face, round the eyes, get the eyes how I like them. Do a bit more on the hair, and then we'll tackle the eye up at the top. So I'm mixing raw umber, titanium white and the cobalt blue, but I'm not fully mixing it. I'm sort of leaving it unmixed, but a bit of everything on there. so that when I put my brush on, I get uneven strands of everything. That may look really white at the moment, but what you'll find is in a minute that will start to dry, and titanium white usually starts to dry and darkens down again. And she hasn't got smooth hair. She hasn't got lovely smooth hair. For goodness sake, she's got a button for an eye. She's not going to have smooth hair. Nobody with a button for an eye will have smooth hair. Remember that. Right, on with the eye now. Really happy with the way this has gone now. Finished off the button. Put some highlights in her hair with individual strands of hair just to give it texture. She's reaching up, and I've got the whole thing top lit from the top, and then I've got a secondary light coming from the side, like a blue light. Helps me give it more form. And she's reaching up, and the next thing I can do, which is really good because this is now standing size, I can work on this bit. With acrylics, it's all about the layers and the textures. For me, anyway. So, I'm not aiming to get the first colour I get down to be the correct colour. I want the final correct colour to be a build-up of layers of different colours that work together to give off the right colour. I approach irises in the same way as I approach smoke, fire, certain waves, in that I put the structure in of this way and then that way a couple of times, and then go back in and see where those lines are interacting with each other. I'm actually mixing the paint with the gloss medium as I'm painting for this, using it instead of water to water it down, so that the paint isn't too opaque. The light is coming from the top, so as it goes into here, it's this side of the iris that's going to catch the light, funnily enough. So that's what I'm going to do now. As the light comes in, it's going to be caught here. This glaze has got a slight yellow tinge to it. I didn't want the blue to be too blue, and the purples in the shadows, I just wanted to brown them off a bit, and the whites of the highlights, I wanted to bring those back very, very slightly, so that I can put an extra white highlight on maybe 2 or 3 spots within the painting that actually really highlight those. A couple more things that I found about eyes. If you're doing a blue eye or a green eye, there is like a hint of a cobalt blue around the outside of the eye. On most eyes, it's really weird. So that's what I'm going to put on now, even though it's been ultramarine all the way through. Now I'm switching to the cobalt to do that final blend. The other thing is, wherever the light's coming from, on the other side, even a secondary light, where the lens is catching it, there's like a purple haze. It's more when eyes are side on rather than front on. So I'm not going to do much of it here, but I am going to do a bit of it with dry brush in purple, a light, so it's like a lilac colour. Going across the lens. Like that. Doesn't look much, but all these little things, they're not much, but when you put them all together, you get better eyes. Can you see it's starting to look like a separate part of the eye now? Right, the pupil is definitely a hole. So I'm gonna use just straight raw umber and ultramarine to make sure that that is a hole there. On that side where it's just catching the other edge, just going to let the edge fall in a bit, because on that side you can see where it goes in, but this side will be nice and straight like that. And then the last thing I'm going to do when that's dry is put the nice highlight on the top. Got to be brave to do this bit. And there we have our eyeball. The last thing I'm going to do now is go back in with the stamps and just overlap some of the stamps onto the eyeball, just to finish it off. All finished. And what I'll do is I'll show you a picture of the finished thing here.